Let's get right into it. Number 8. Georgie Porgie. Georgie Porgie, pudding and pie, kissed the girls and made them cry. When the boys came out to play, Georgie Porgie ran away. Sounds like a classic playground bully, right? A kid who thinks he's Romeo but ends up being more like a weeping antagonist from a particularly tearful soap opera. It's a simple tale of a cad getting his comeuppance. But, as with most things that have lingered for centuries, the real story behind Georgie Porgie is far less about playground shenanigans and far more about scandalous political maneuvering and illicit affairs among the British aristocracy. Many historians believe Georgie Porgie is a thinly veiled jab at George Villiers, the first Duke of Buckingham, a notorious favorite of King James I and King Charles I in the 17th century. Villiers was known for his flamboyant personality, his ambition, and his alleged dalliances with both men and women at court. The kissed the girls and made them cry part is thought to refer to his numerous romantic entanglements and the emotional havoc he wreaked. The pudding and pie might be a lewd reference to his lavish lifestyle, or even something more anatomical, if you catch my drift. And when the boys came out to play, Georgie Porgie ran away? This could allude to his tendency to abandon his lovers, or more darkly, his political enemies when things got too hot. So, next time you hear about Georgie Porgie, remember it's not just about a kid who needs to learn some manners. It's a whispered indictment of a powerful, promiscuous duke who probably thought he was above reproach. Number 7. Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. This one's a riddle, a cautionary tale about gravity, and a metaphor for irreparable damage. You probably picture a giant egg, teetering precariously before its inevitable, yolk-splattering demise. And for centuries, that's exactly what people imagined. But forget the breakfast table, because Humpty Dumpty was likely a massive cannon used during the English Civil War. Specifically, it's believed to refer to a large, powerful cannon mounted on a church tower wall during the Siege of Colchester in 1648. This formidable piece of artillery was critical to the Royalist defense. When the parliamentarians finally managed to blow up the wall the cannon was sitting on, Humpty Dumpty, the cannon, tumbled down. And just like the rhyme says, all the king's horses and all the king's men, meaning the Royalist forces and their resources, couldn't reassemble or repair the massive weapon once it had fallen and shattered. The loss of Humpty Dumpty was a significant blow, contributing to the Royalists' defeat. So, no, it wasn't a clumsy egg with a penchant for heights. It was a weapon of war, a symbol of military might brought low, demonstrating that even the most formidable creations can be irrevocably broken. Number 6. Jack and Jill. You know these two, right? They went up a hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. A simple, slightly clumsy, but ultimately harmless tale of two kids and a bucket. Perfect for teaching the dangers of uneven terrain, perhaps. Except, like a surprising number of these seemingly innocent rhymes, Jack and Jill is often interpreted as a veiled reference to political executions during the French Revolution. Many believe the rhyme describes the fate of King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette. King Louis XVI, or Jack, was beheaded, broke his crown, a euphemism for losing his head literally and figuratively as a monarch. His queen, Marie Antoinette, or Jill, was guillotined shortly after, came tumbling after. The pail of water they went up the hill to fetch could be a metaphor for the struggle for power or the desperate attempts to maintain the monarchy. The hill itself represents the climb towards revolution and eventual downfall. So what sounds like a simple mishap involving a bucket is actually a grim historical account of regicide, wrapped up in a package designed for children. Suddenly, that trip up the hill seems a lot more perilous. Number 5. 3 Blind Mice. Another cheerful-sounding one, right? 3 little mice running around, getting their tails cut off by a farmer's wife with a carving knife. It's a bit violent for a kid's song, sure, but in a cartoonish, slapstick kind of way. Or is it? This rhyme is widely believed to be a brutal reference to Queen Mary I of England. Yes, her again, Bloody Mary, remember. The 3 blind mice are thought to represent 3 Protestant bishops, specifically Hugh Latimer, Nicholas Ridley, and Thomas Cranmer, who were accused of plotting against the Queen. They were indeed blind in the sense that they were Protestant in a Catholic-reverting England, and perhaps blind to the true extent of Mary's wrath. The farmer's wife is Queen Mary herself, known for her zealous persecution of Protestants, and the gruesome act of cutting off their tails with a carving knife. That's a rather grisly metaphor for their brutal executions. Latimer and Ridley were burned at the stake, and Cranmer was forced to recant his Protestant beliefs before also being burned at the stake. So, this isn't just about some unlucky rodents. It's a chilling historical account of religious persecution and savage punishment, disguised as a children's ditty. Number 4. Ring-a-ring-a-roses. Wait, didn't we cover this? Ring around the rosy and ring-a-ring-a-roses are often used interchangeably. And yes, both are widely linked to the Black Death. But let's get a little more specific, just in case you thought your childhood was only mildly traumatized. While the rosy typically refers to the rash and the posies to the protective herbs, the a tissue variant, often sung in the UK version of the rhyme, is a direct, audible representation of the violent sneezing that was a symptom of the plague. So, while Ring Around the Rosy covers the visual and aromatic aspects of medieval death, Ring-a-ring-o-roses brings you the oral experience of people literally succumbing to disease. It's like a full sensory immersion into a pandemic, decades before VR headsets existed. And of course, the grand finale, we all fall down, because, well, everyone eventually did. It's a chillingly literal description of mass mortality, framed as a delightful circle game. So, the next time you hear a group of kids joyfully singing this, just imagine them enacting a historical reenactment of an apocalyptic plague, complete with sound effects. Suddenly, that innocent playground game feels less like fun and more like a macabre performance art piece. Number 3. Rockabye Baby. This lullaby, designed to soothe a child to sleep, is actually quite unsettling when you think about it. Rockabye baby on the treetop, when the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall, and down will come baby, cradle and all. It's basically a step-by-step guide to a horrific infant fatality. Who thought this was a good idea for a bedtime song? While interpretations vary, one popular theory links it to early American colonial times and observations of Native American practices. It's believed that early European settlers witnessed Native American women suspending cradle boards from tree branches, allowing the wind to rock the babies to sleep. This was a novel and perhaps alarming sight to the newcomers, leading to the creation of a cautionary tale or a song reflecting their anxieties about such a practice. The bough breaks, and cradle will fall, reflects the very real danger of such a setup if a branch were to give way. Another, less common theory links it to a specific historical figure, James II of England and his infant son. It's speculated that the baby represents the Catholic heir to the throne, whose birth was contested by Protestants. The bough breaking could symbolize the collapse of the Catholic Stuart dynasty, and the fall represents the eventual overthrow of James II during the Glorious Revolution. Either way, it's not exactly a tune that inspires peaceful slumber, unless your idea of peace is the quiet of an impending disaster. Number 2. Goosey, Goosey, Gander. Goosey, Goosey, Gander, whither shall I wander? Upstairs and downstairs, and in my lady's chamber. There I met an old man, who wouldn't say his prayers. I took him by the left leg and threw him down the stairs. Well, that escalated quickly, didn't it? From a charming wander through a house to an act of violent, impromptu defenestration. You probably pictured a curious goose getting a little too nosy, perhaps accidentally tripping someone. But no, this rhyme is far more sinister, and it speaks to the brutal religious conflicts that plagued England. This rhyme is widely believed to be about the persecution of Catholic priests during the reign of King Henry VIII and later Queen Elizabeth I, when being a Catholic priest in England was essentially a death sentence. Catholic priests often conducted Mass and administered sacraments in secret, hiding in priest holes within the homes of sympathetic Catholic families. The Goosey Gander is not a literal goose, but rather the Protestant search parties or priest hunters, wandering through houses looking for hidden priests. Upstairs and downstairs and in my lady's chamber refers to the thorough, intrusive searches of private homes, and when they found an old man who wouldn't say his prayers, meaning he wouldn't renounce his Catholic faith and convert to Protestantism, they took him by the left leg and threw him down the stairs, a gruesome, albeit perhaps metaphorical description of the brutal capture, torture, or execution of these priests. It's a chilling reminder of a time when religious intolerance led to unspeakable violence, all wrapped up in a seemingly nonsensical rhyme. Number 1. Mary had a little lamb. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. This one is so ingrained in our minds as the epitome of childhood innocence. A sweet little girl, her loyal, fluffy companion, a heartwarming tale of friendship. It's used to teach basic rhythm and the concept of following directions. It's wholesome, it's pure, it's actually genuinely wholesome and pure. Surprise! Unlike the parade of horrors we've just waded through, Mary Had a Little Lamb is one of the rare nursery rhymes that doesn't have a dark, hidden origin involving plague, murder, or political intrigue. It's based on a true story. The Mary in the rhyme was Mary Sawyer, who lived in Sterling, Massachusetts in the early 19th century. One day, her pet lamb actually did follow her to school, much to the amusement of her classmates and the consternation of her teacher. The incident inspired John Rulstone, a young man visiting the school, to write the first 3 stanzas of the poem. Later, Sarah Josepha Hale, an American writer and editor, added the remaining stanzas, transforming it into the full rhyme we know today. So, after all the beheadings, plagues, and religious persecutions, it turns out that sometimes a lamb is just a lamb, and a girl is just a girl, and a rhyme is just a rhyme about a very loyal, slightly disruptive farm animal. It's almost disappointing in its lack of morbidness, isn't it? Just a straightforward, fluffy tale of a sheep attending class. Who knew? That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.